Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this joint meeting between the Dawson County Board of Commissioners and the Dawson County City Council. We welcome all of you and thank you for your participation. We will start out with a roll call. I will do the county board, and then Mayor Easton will do the city council. So District 1? Here. District 2? Here. District 3? Here. District 4? And I'm the chairman, and so we're all present. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike Easton, Mayor of the City of Dawsonville. I want to call this special city council meeting with the county to order. My roll call is as follows: Mark French, here. John Walden, here. Steve Tolson, here. Bob Bolt, City Manager, here. Beverly Bannister, City Clerk, here. Dana Miles, City Attorney, here. Paul Mitchell, Assistant City Attorney, here. Caleb Phillips is on vacation. Councilmember Phillips is out of state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Would ask everyone to please stand for a brief invocation of the pledge, please. If you would, bow your heads, please. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another opportunity to meet. We thank you for the opportunity to meet with our partners in the city. We ask that you give us all knowledge and wisdom to carry out the business of both of the government entities. Anything that we accomplish, we'll give you the honor and glory for it in Christ's name. We do ask and pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Does anyone have any announcements?
None from the city.
Any announcements from the board? Okay. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I do have one change to the agenda that I'll need the board to approve, and then the mayor will ask the same of the council. We've had a request for a public comment. We will do that right after the approval of the agenda. So I will take a motion to approve the agenda with that one change.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote by show of hands for the board. And the board approves that 4-0. Mayor.
As Chairman Thurman said, we have a request for public comment. I would ask the council for a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember French, second by Councilmember Toltz. Any discussion? All in favor signify by aye instead of raising your hand.
Aye.
Opposed likewise.
Okay. So as I said, we had one request for public comment, Mr. Bruce Dunsell. Mr. Dunsell, come on up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor. All of you, thank you for the opportunity to just say a few brief remarks and share a different taxpayer perspective. We'll be opposing the approval of the SWOST for the November ballot for largely the same reasons that we opposed the T-SWOST vote just this last election. So, again, thank you. Appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on into new business, and we're here today to discuss the proposed special purpose local option sales tax. This will be a discussion. We will talk about the allocation of tax proceeds, possible projects for inclusion in the referendum, and then look at the intergovernmental agreement. In that intergovernmental agreement, we'll talk some about the election date, as well as we say, we'll go over some of the lists, which are still to be narrowed down, obviously, to get down to the where we need to be, and the percentage allocation that's associated with the intergovernmental agreement between the city and the county. So I will open that up to discussion between the city and the county. So whoever would like to start. Or I can have each one of the lists read if you'd rather start with that. Okay, we can start with that. All right. So I'll ask our county manager to read the proposed list of projects from the county.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning to everybody. In creating this list was sent out to the different departments for those that wanted to provide project needs throughout the county. They are as follows. The Information Technology IT Department, the description is various IT infrastructure upgrades, $1.5 million. This is a cost of courtroom upgrades for courtroom A, B, and D, server $200,000, telephone switches, revamping pretty much the entire system. It is an older system and needs updating, so it's at $1.5 million. Administrative facilities, administrative building, 5,000 square foot admin building, 4 office suites at $1.225 million. Fire EMS, 4 fire engine replacements, replace E5, E1, E6, E4, and equipment, $2.9 million. 4 ambulance replacement of 4 med units and equipment, $1.9 million. Replace tender with minimum of 2,000 gallon tender, $450,000. New ladder truck and equipment, $1.75 million. Remodel fire stations 4 and 5, $6.6 million. Replace existing burn building tower, $5.3 million. New fire station 9, $4 million. E911 emergency operations, fire, EMS, sheriff. New emergency operations center, E911. New construction of EOC and E911 center, $5.5 million. Emergency communications system. New emergency communication system, which is a new radio system, at $7 million. Board of Elections, new elections building, new construction. There was no cost on that. It's estimated to be anywhere between $2 to $5 million, depending on land location, purchase of land, and the type of facility that would be built. Tax Commissioner, purchase bank building for tax office with drive-through, estimated $550,000 to $600,000. Sheriff's Office, SWAT truck, truck and equipment, $100,000. Roof on Law Enforcement Center, $300,000. Courthouse security upgrades, $500,000. Gun range, no details at this time. Sheriff's vehicles and equipment, $3 million. Public Works vehicles and equipment, new vehicles and equipment replacements, $2 million. County road projects, existing asset road improvement project list at $10 million. County culvert projects, existing asset culvert rehab, $5 million. County administration, vehicle and equipment replacement, $2 million. Fueling center, new fueling center at Station 2, $600,000. Parks and Recreation, Veterans Park improvements, playground replacement, $450,000. Football field, artificial turf, $700,000. Multi-purpose field, artificial turf, $800,000. Rock Creek Park improvements, playground replacement, $450,000. New small playground, $325,000. Special needs baseball, softball field, $400,000. Asphalt parking, trail replacement, $850,000. Ward Hill Park improvements, new playground, $300,000. Replacement fishing pier, $200,000. Primitive hiking trails, $200,000. Public health, new public health building, new construction of public health building, $1.5 million. Court services, courtroom technology upgrades, upgrade courtroom D technology to match other courtrooms, $80,000. Building renovation, treatment services, Kenneth Long building renovation, $200,000. Development authority, industrial park expansion, and site improvements at $5 million. Total Dawson County project costs $73,030,500.
Mr. Chairman? Ma'am? I just want to clarify for everyone, including the public, that the county manager has read a list of projects and then a more detailed description. The project list is what will be put on this IGA and advertised to the public. The descriptions that he read are not intended to bind the county in any way with respect to their spending. That's just the tentative premise of the project. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. And also, just for the knowledge of everyone else, this is the comprehensive list that was put together by the departments and stuff. This will not be the final list. That'll be discussed in an open meeting as well amongst the board to trim this down to the actual dollar amount, because the estimated revenue generated from a SPLOST 7 is approximately $60 million, and that would be both city and county projects together. So this list still has some work to be done, but we wanted you, everyone to hear the projects that have been proposed by the different departments and agencies. At this time, I'll turn it over to the mayor in reference to city fund.
Yes. Okay.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bounster's got a list of projects that has the prices on it. We were not able to get all that together earlier when we were trying to get everything together for this meeting, so she's going to hand out one now and make it available to everyone. And I'm going to have our city manager, Mr. Bowles, to try to go through that list and kind of give you some more details about what we're in need of in the city. And a lot of ours are transportation and water and sewer issues. So if you could just bear with us. You good enough of them?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bowles.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is a draft list. These are representing some of our greatest needs. A lot of it comes from what we're hearing from our public, what they're desiring. Again, this will have to be tapered down based on decided percentage of revenues and that sort of thing. First off, we've got roads, street, bridges, and sidewalks. First item is deep patch repair, milling, and repaving of, and this is several small roads, so bear with me. Main Street Park, Highway 53, Main Street, Highway 53 to the park. Maple Street, Pearl Chambers Drive, Pearl Chambers Court, and Pearl Chambers Way. Richmond Drive, Jack Turd Road, Memory Lane, Stegall Place, Stonewall Subdivision, Rain Hill Subdivision, Birch Crossing 1 Subdivision, Creekstone Subdivision Phase 1. Those are all deep patch milling and repaving. We also allocated some money for existing asset maintenance, initial paving of Bears Den Road. It's a city road that's never been paved. Sidewalks in and around City Hall, the Farmers Market, and our new park to connect all that together. And a sidewalk from Allen Street in front of Robinson Elementary down Highway 9 to Robinson Road, connecting it on into downtown. Our total estimate for those road projects is $2,752,000. Land acquisition. This would be land acquisition for various needs, such as water sewer easements, expansion of the farmers market, additional parklands, intersection improvements, parking needs, and road extensions. $1,748,000. Water sewer projects. Our biggest need now is expansion of our sewage capacity with we've added close to 3,000 citizens since 2015. So it would include constructing a tertiary wastewater plant. Public Works, facilities and equipment. Public Works, vehicles and equipment, new and replacement. And utility department vehicles and equipment, new and replacement, $200,000. Parks and Recreation, to expand on our Main Street Park, carry out phases 3 and 4, construct picnic shelters, install fitness stations, construct a dog park, construct a disc golf course, construct an amphitheater, construct a splash pad, miscellaneous trail and amenities, construct a small maintenance facility within the park, construct bocce ball courts and pickleball facility. Total estimate there is $1 million. Downtown revitalization. One of the biggest challenges we have is to beautify the downtown, and there's not a great deal of parking, and there's no public restrooms. So this is our list for downtown revitalization. Streetscapes, planners, etc. Additional parking along Academy Avenue, a restroom along Academy Avenue, $1 million. City Hall facilities, some general repairs to the building, refit windows, some HVAC issues, and then parking in and around City Hall. Estimated cost $500,000. The next are a list of joint city-county road projects. These would have to be joined with us by the county. These are roads, part of the roads are owned by the city, and part of the roads are owned by the county. New construction and renovation, about a total of $810,000. It would include deep patch repair, milling and paving of Robinson Road, Elliott Village Road, and George's Place. Our portion of the city's would be about $150,000. New road construction, Cleve Wright Road. It's a new road west of the city that is getting a lot of development along it. Our city's portion will be $125,000. New road construction, Pamela Circle. It's a road right off Perimeter Road. It's jointly owned. $35,000. And then intersection improvements, Highway 9 North and Perimeter Road, $500,000. Brings it to a total of $12,200,000.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles. We put together a list working with our department heads and our staff, and we will do the same thing the county intends to do, is to try to pare it down once we determine how much money is going to be allocated to each department or each city and the county share. And we'll continue to work on that. As you can see, we've got a lot of needs, particularly in road improvements in our jurisdiction. So we're looking forward to working together with the county and come up with a plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Bob, for that breakdown. So at this time, we will open it up to discussion between the board and the city in reference to what you would like to discuss in Splash 7.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have some clarification before we get started. You are estimating $60 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the number that would happen now with the economy like it is? Or is that January 2020 when everything was going great?
Well, I'll let Miss Vicki explain that if she would. She put together the numbers, so she'd like to come up and give you the how she looked at that.
Because we all know things are really not well right now. And so we might not receive, and we need to be conscious of that, I would think.
There are multiple ways that you can make estimates. I wish I had a crystal ball. If I did, I would be living in an island somewhere in the Caribbean. But various ways, like I said, there are various ways you can do this estimation. But what we tried to do was make it as conservative as possible. The initial estimates were higher than 60 million. So we did get some good news today that our SPLOST was only down 5.5%. We just got the numbers today. So I do think that we're going to see pretty quick recovery. So at this point right now, I think the 60 would be a good conservative estimate. So.
In a little more detail in reference to what Ms. Vicki's saying, is she looked back at the history of the percentage of increase that we have seen month to month to month to month over the past several years in reference to Splosh 6. She applied those same percentages of increase, gives her that opportunity to come up with that 60 million conservative figure. And so that's basically the formula by which she used. Any comment from the financial person for the city in reference to that? We good? All right, move on. Right. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mayor, Council, as I look over the two project lists, obviously there's some needs that go around, and you know, I think that totals up your 12.2 and our 73 totals to about $85 million. I realize that there are a lot of great needs. We try to prioritize needs as you guys try to prioritize needs within the city. You know, looking at the list and some of our preliminary meetings with our staff and department heads and in leadership on where some of these needs that specifically that we're addressing, I think you'll find that a lot of these needs benefits county residents, which the residents that live within the geographic area of the city are county residents as well. But they benefit everybody. I mean, they benefit, you look at fire and EMS, you know, Station 1, percentage-wise, I think the number of calls statistically that Station 1 responds to is close to or north of 50% that go to the city. I think it's closer to 60% that have responded anytime they get a call. It's a city call. And so we're looking to put some capital into some infrastructure, into some equipment that is going to be able to serve those citizens at a faster response, at a higher quality response. So you look at fire engine replacements. I could see one of those going to Station 1, ambulances. We obviously have some dire needs of ambulances. The amount of use that they get is incredible. Look down through ladder truck. This is something that I've always thought was interesting because we don't have any super tall buildings, and so I've always kind of questioned that. I'm not a fire and EMS expert by any means, but what I'm told, and it might help for you guys just to put some color onto that particular line item. A ladder truck, for instance, food line, if you stood that thing up, you couldn't get to the middle of it with the resources that we have now. Same thing with the Kroger, the Home Depot that's down at 400. So that's my understanding of why there's a need for a ladder truck. Because when I saw that, it's like, why do we need a ladder truck? It doesn't make sense. But now that I understand that better, I see the validity in that. A training burn center, again, that's a benefit of everybody in the community, inside the geographic area of the city, and not moving on to 911 and fire and EMS, you'll see that we have allocated some substantial funds to communications, and this is something that has been, it's been a request for many years, and how do we better communicate within our organizations, fire, sheriff, EMS, that goes inside the city limits and outside the city limits. That goes throughout the whole area, and so it's not a project that is just designed to benefit county operations outside of the geographic area of the city. The 911 center, again, that's a critical component right now. It's housed, I think it was just a temporary idea when the jail was built. That temporary idea has carried over for many years, and so there's a need for a 911 center that is protected from weather and storms. We have tornadoes. There needs to be a dedicated 911 center, again, that benefits all citizens throughout the community, inside the geographic area of the city and outside the geographic area. I can continue going on. Obviously, sheriff's office, there's going to be patrol vehicles, there's going to be capital that's going to be expended on things such as, every single one of these items is going to be something that's going to benefit citizens that live inside the city as well as outside the city. Vehicles, gun range, a SWAT truck, an incident can happen easily inside or outside. Park and recreation. You guys have just, I don't know if it's finally complete, but you guys have worked very hard and have a very nice park. And I commend you for that. That's something that started 8 years ago, I think, when I was on the Development Authority. And we worked hard to come up with those designs and ideas, and you guys have put that all the way through, and it is a beautiful park. We have some great parks on the county side as well that serve the citizens both inside the geographic area as well. I mean, your kids play baseball, they're going to a Rock Creek or a Veterans Park that lies outside of the geographic area of the city as well. So those park and recreation, those are great benefits for everybody in the community as well. Public health, again, another benefit. Court services, obviously benefit. Development authority, this is something that that we've talked about for years, and it's a huge benefit for the city. And I would love to see opportunities for more engagement from city leadership on the development authority, the county development authority, because some of the actions they've taken have grown your bottom line tremendously. A lot of the things that you see down on 400 where it's generating sales tax revenue has been done through the development authority. And investing in the group that's going to help bring diversification to that is only going to benefit and create a healthier bottom line for your sales tax revenue that you guys realize through the splits of Lost and Splosh. So I think investing in the development authority, again, is a huge benefit to you guys, just like it is to us. So all that to say, it's my goal, and I think it's shared by everybody, shared by you guys as well, is we have to do things together. For years, I've sat in your seat. I've been across that, and I've seen that perspective of that geographic footprint. What can I do to serve that geographic footprint to the best that I can? I fought tooth and nail for the last plot. That's the reason why we're at 15%. It's because I was sitting in that seat. We went to mediation with the county over it, and I fought tooth and nail because I wanted to fight for my silo. Sitting in a different perspective and seeing a bigger picture has allowed me the opportunity to gain a better understanding that, we all the time, every single one of us has said we want better efficiencies. This board said that. I believe every single one of y'all has said that. I know for a fact several of you have. It's time that we stop. And this is an excellent opportunity because what just happened with T-Splosh was a shot over our bow that citizens want efficient government. Citizens want us to be able to utilize the dollars that we are, that come into the county and come into the city the most efficient way that we can. And that's on both sides. You guys do some things that are probably a whole lot more efficient than the way we do things. The vice versa might be true as well. In my opinion, we have an excellent opportunity wrapping around Splosh to start a conversation, how do we do things more efficient together? And I think there's a lot of overlapping opportunities that I see in both lists where we could utilize those dollars better and where we benefit citizens that are inside and outside the geographic borders. I mean, if we get rid of that geographic border, then we can work together. I don't want this to come across because when I sat in your seat, I felt like it was the big bad county that wanted to just come in and take over. And I was told that by leadership at the city that was the case. And I drank that and I fought that. I fought it hard. And while I was there, I love the city. I want the city. I mean, again, I was involved in the planning of the park that you guys just built. I was involved in the downtown revitalization. I would love to see downtown Dawsonville get revitalized and be a booming economic engine just like 400 is. I love the city. Don't get me wrong. I love the city. But what I love more is an efficient operation of government. I want us all to benefit inside the geographic area and outside the geographic area. So what I'm saying today is we've got a good opportunity in front of us. The state of our economy at a national level, the state of our economy at a state level, the state of our economy at a local level pushes us hard to be the most efficient we absolutely can and get our power plays out of the way and look beyond how can we do things better together. So it would be my suggestion that we use this opportunity with Splosh to, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that out here. I think we need more time. I don't think we need to do a November date because I think we need time to really make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's and doing everything we possibly can to be the most efficient with this process, but also look at all of our processes. Again, you guys might do things a lot better than we do, and we need to learn from that. And so it would be my suggestion that we use this process and this opportunity to engage a third party like Carl Vincent Institute, which I've talked to before in the past, and they're willing to come in and help facilitate some of these conversations. And let's quit saying, let's work better together, and let's do it. Let's make an effort, let's vote collectively in a joint meeting or independently to say, let's move the ball forward with a conversation, and let's actually try to move the ball forward in an effective manner that makes us all utilize the tax dollars that we are allotted more efficiently. And so with that, I would say that I want, wrapping all this words up, my dad's a Baptist preacher, so I could talk forever probably, but wrapping all this up, I want us to work more efficiently. I want us to move towards trying to figure out a way to look at both of these plans and how we can be more efficient together. And I would like to see us push to a March vote date in order to give us enough time to properly vet that out and do that in the right texture. Sorry, that was a long line. My mouth is dry.
That was well said, and I appreciate it. My task was on the, is it even turned on?
There's a speak button on the front.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Thank you. Having worked on the county side previously, I saw what happened in Lumpkin County in the city of Dahlonega. Their sales tax negotiations, to say it became aggressive would perhaps be the understatement of the millennium. I don't want to see us go down that road. So I welcome an opportunity to sit down with you all, with a third party. I agree, Carl Vincent is a wonderful resource. I've worked with him in the past and have never been displeased with what they've done for us. So I would welcome that opportunity. I think the only way for us to conceivably move forward for the betterment of all of our citizens is to work together and not just talk about it. So I agree with you, and I thank you, Commissioner Gaines, for your statement this morning.
I think as well, some of this is wish list, and maybe this is not the time for wishing. And we have really got to go down that priority list. And you spoke about the ladder truck. It's my understanding, and I don't know where I got this, that if we don't have that our ISO rating is going down. Yeah. Straighten me out on which one. Whatever.
Number goes up. Lower the number, better.
It's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and it translates to your house insurance going like this. And of course, that crossings down there behind Publix, now that's some pretty tall buildings. So I think, you know, and you can't divide it county, city, you know, we're all in this together. But we really do have, I think, priority setting is always important, but it's more important now. So I can look at this and not so much with the city, but with the county, and there's things that just jump out at me. And we are tasked with public safety, so I think that is number one. So we just got to really narrow it down to say, look, this is something that we really need. And also, this may not be the time, but I'll say it anyway. I want there to be an understanding in the public that this is not a new tax. It's a continuation of what we already have. And, you know, revenues have to come from somewhere. And it seems like when there's not enough, everybody starts shifting to property owners. And it's almost as though you get penalized because you might have something. So to me, this is, if we've got to have a tax, and we have to have money for services, the thing to do is not just shift it to one certain group, but let everybody share in it. So that's my spiel about that.
You know, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Money is a sensitive subject.
Yes.
And this is not the first time we've sat down as a county and a city and talked about a lot of these same projects. We've progressed every meeting we've had. I don't think we've taken any steps back. Mr. Gaines and I and Councilman French and as well as Commissioner Fawcett. And I think Commissioner Satterfield's even sat in a few of them. Obviously, Ms. Joy Nix over there as well. So we've had these discussions. I don't want people to think, you know, we mentioned borders, and there are borders. It is what it is. We're two separate organizations that have separate responsibilities. So, but I've never seen, you know, Councilman French mentions what happened in Lumpkin and Dahlonega. I haven't seen anything like that since I've been here. And of course, I haven't been behind the curtain the whole time, but I've been back here for a little while, and I know that we can progress forward. We're both going to go back to our respective areas, and we're going to polish and come up with a finite product that we can offer each other, working together. And I'll say I was in, many of you may know, I worked in emergency medicine for 2 decades, and we appreciate what the county does for the city. It's very important. And I've seen what happens when you don't have those assets available. And it's very important that you have, you know, not just the newest equipment, but the newest technology, the best trained individuals, and that looks like what you're talking about here. And so we can appreciate that. And, you know, there's a lot of there is some overlap. Mr. Gaines, you mentioned that, and you know, but there's also some responsibilities that we have in the city that are specific to the city. For instance, there are some roads that we work on that we do take that responsibility on. We do have to we have to finance that, and as Mr. Fawcett mentioned, it's something that we have. Where do we get the money? The money has to come from somewhere. So I doubt that there's many in the crowd today, or those that'll hear about this later, that wouldn't say that each one of these projects on this list, both county and city, would benefit you. We understand that we have to trim that down, but I think everyone would agree, to include the public, that these are all coming from a position of support for the community, and it comes from, you know, our feeling of responsibility to you. So I would just ask that you keep that in mind.
If I may interject again briefly, it was not my intent to suggest that we had an adversarial relationship. I would use that merely as an example, as a precautionary tale, so that we do not find ourselves in that position. It doesn't look good for either of us, and when that happens, we lose the faith that those we were elected to serve.
That's helpful perspective.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I think we're in a better perspective, and the same thing Councilman French alludes to is, it's not my goal to create defenses here. I mean, and we worked really well together. I think this board has had more communication in a positive manner in many years, but I think there's still a lot more that we can do. I guess we have run a race, and we're not even close to a finish line. I don't even know if there is a finish line, but we're moving forward. But I think that we can move forward better together. I mean, you bring up an interesting point, and again, I don't want to get in the weeds on some of this stuff, but when we look at roads, you know, we prioritize roads based on needs and how many people does it serve. The roads on your list appear the majority of them are in subdivisions. You guys did the right thing several years ago. It was none of this council's fault. The mayor wasn't seated, but developers went defunct in the downturn, left developments that were unpaved. Citizens that lived in those neighborhoods were stuck in a really tough place, and you guys were stuck in a really tough place because those people were knocking on your door saying, "Fix my roads." Y'all were saying, "Well, it's the developer that went defunct," but y'all worked out a great deal with the new ones coming in, the new builders, to be able to capitalize some additional revenue off of them to help offset some of these roads. I think that was an excellent idea and an excellent way to help mitigate some of these challenges that you have. You know, when I look at specifically talking about efficiencies, if I look at my budget for the roads department, and let's just look at labor. Our labor is $1.2 million, FUTA FICA benefits for my staff, administration, and field guys that handle roads. You divide that by how many road miles we have, which is a little over 300 road miles. That's about a little under $4,000 a road mile for labor cost. just on a whim, I pulled up the cities the other day, and off the top of the budget, what I looked at, and maybe I'm wrong, but looked like the labor cost was maybe around $350 and 14 some odd road miles I have. You believe that puts you right around $25,000 labor cost per road mile. There's an efficiency that we could offer the same level of, if not better, service and save citizens money. I mean, I think that's an opportunity. And again, that's why I want to bring in a third party to look objectively at it and make sure that that's a real opportunity. I don't know. A lot of these roads, you know, we have some paving equipment. I don't know if there could be some opportunity where we bring our paving equipment over. Again, that's an opportunity where the communication and have a third party come in that kind of helps facilitate some of that and gets political power plays and gets politics out of it, which is the dirtiest word in this building and in politics in general. Get that out of the way and let's remove the silos. We do have geographic areas, but our number one charge is to service those customers with fire, EMS, safety protections. You've got $9 million for a wastewater treatment plant. And I'm going to be, Brooke is sitting in the room, and I may offend him drastically with his statement. I didn't like Etowah when I was sitting in y'all's seat, because I thought they were, again, just like the Big Bad County wanted to come take us over. But there's efficiencies that could be had with, you don't make money on wastewater. I bet you get with him and he'd take over your wastewater on a fraction of that. I think you mentioned, and I just wrote down a rough number, you mentioned there's 31 homes that have been built. Is that correct, 3,100? Somebody mentioned that.
No,
3,000.
3,000 new citizens.
Citizens, how many houses is that?
1,000.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I said, 3,100 people.
And these are rough numbers.
Yeah. I mean, 1,100?
A little over 1,058 houses.
1,058 times 4. Y'all's tap fees, what, 4,700? So that's $5.5 million in capital that you guys have raised by tap fees to go towards, I think legally, I believe you have to use that for capital and infrastructure for water, sewer. You know, is there an opportunity there? I don't know. I mean, that's just something that, are we using those dollars most efficiently? I think we have a great opportunity. And again, to your point, is the relationships are established. Let's just work together. And I think we have the best opportunity today to work together and move forward with a more efficient operation. I'll say this, every dollar that is not spent on, every dollar that's consumed in the split that the city gets is a dollar we can't spend on fire and EMS. It's a dollar I can't spend on the new ambulance. It's a dollar I can't spend on more sheriff's vehicles or equipment in order to serve your citizens better, which you say is, you know, you've got a responsibility. Your responsibility is to provide those services for them. We just need to be very careful with every single dollar that we get.
Yeah, I think it was, as we mentioned before, we understand that safety is a priority, and we can see that from your list. It's important to us as well. So yeah, we would recommend that as you continue to look at your numbers and we do the same, that maybe not focus as much on your safety, because you've done that. You've done a great job looking at that. There may be some fact trend we don't know. We'll know when we look at it. But yeah, no, we absolutely understand that those dollars are well used for those.
How do y'all feel about the March date? I mean, that's one thing that we need to settle today, I believe.
I'm fine with that.
I would agree. I think we need some more time to discuss this.
Yeah, well, way things are going now in the economy, I mean, I agree with the parts. It's just, I mean, I think it's the hardest in the T-spots. It's the time. And the way everything, the economy was, people wasn't working, and people was trying to save every penny they had. That penny got voted down because I think the fear of the future.
Well, that was an additional tax.
Additional tax.
This is not, this is already in place.
It's in place, and if we don't do it, I mean, that's going to be the next hard decision between the county and the city is what services we're going to cut. Are we going to shut down the parks? Are we going to shut down the library? Are we going to shut down the new park you've got? I mean, that's where we got to look, because some of these services, and I hate to keep them, I mean, we've talked about the fire service and law enforcement, first responders, but I mean, even with the new station we're building, benefits the city with the property y'all got west of town.
That'll lower the ISO rates
But the
up.
ISO rating, I mean, talked about, and Sherry talked about the ISO, the ladder truck benefits not only the county, but it benefits the city too. Benefits what they're paying for their insurance. And that station that's being built west of town benefits the city and the county for ISO ratings too. But, it is a big list, but I think, it's a wish list, but it's also, I think, a needs list of some of these department heads are really, we've been pretty conservative with our money, watching what we're spending, especially this time, but, they're seeing what our needs is in the future. The health department, it's 70 years old.
Now, don't look at me when you say.
I'm looking at Bill to get the correct answer, it is 70 years old.
Yeah.
You're not saying you were there when it was built.
I
You're just
was,
saying.
well, I was, 1950.
But, I mean, it's just like trucks, I mean, whether it's the road department trucks, fire department trucks, facilities trucks, you get to a point where you're spending more money than they're worth.
Yes.
I mean, we've got an engine we spent $8,000 on, and you couldn't go deal it for $2,000. And same way with the health department, we got a building it's old, it's the maintenance on it, the upkeep on it, it's costing more than it would have built you with. On the other fueling center, I asked for that because, and I know it's not going to benefit y'all to use the one we're in town, but we don't have anything on the east side. So when the deputies running the east side, they got to come all the way to town to get fuel. The road department is working on the east side. Either they get a credit card or they come to town and fill up. So you're wasting not man hours, you're wasting, coverage as far as for law enforcement, but you're also spending a credit card that you're paying a fee on. So that's, a project that I want to see on it. It's going to benefit the school system. Buses over there, it's going to benefit Etowah Water because they're partners with us on the fueling center in town, but most of their jobs on the east side, so now they can fill up there too. So it's time. We've got a while. I mean, you're wasting an hour to go get gas, and so that's one of the things that I like seeing on there. But some of the projects do overlap. I'd like to see, some of the engines or the possible ladder truck or a Amis be on one of y'all projects. Since we have two stations benefiting the city, maybe one of those Amises or one of those fire trucks or the ladder truck, we can share the cost of it. Because it's benefiting the whole county, the city and the county. But like I said, I think there was a lot on both sides of these lists, needs. And if we don't get this passed, like I said, we're going to be looking at more needs because we're going to shut stuff down. That's just the way it is. Thank you.
There's a couple of things I noticed. The city has mentioned 2 times about this is the public desires list, or they've had input, or we have the support from the community. And I just feel like that I think our department heads came up with this list, and then we have looked at it, the commissioners, and had added some things to it. I'd like to see some involvement with our citizens, some meetings, and let them decide what are some of the things the citizens want. And because for this to pass, the citizens are going to have to get behind this to promote it, to get it passed, or going to be in the same situation. So with that statement, giving more time for the citizens to get involved in this, and on the county side, I think, and Sharon says it's best that I'm a minute person. I want it to happen real fast. And I would love for this to happen November the 3rd, but for it to really be successful, I think, in my opinion now that I've listened to you, that it's going to be best to try to work toward the March 2021 to get everything covered and have the joint meetings and to give and take. So I welcome that.
And I think the citizens need to know as well that whenever this fails, if it comes up in November and it fails, it has to wait a year to come back around. Same thing with March. If it fails, we got a year, and then that's a year. I mean, you still got roads out there, you still got emergencies. I mean, life is going on. And when somebody calls and says, my road is all to pieces, my car got swallowed up in the hole, you know, or my windshield got broken, and my son's windshield got broken, you know, I mean, it takes money, it's just a fact. So, so when we talk about failure, then we're talking about, you know, waiting a year. So I think people need to keep that in mind, because life does go on.
And if we promote it, if it's promoted and out there to the public, what is happening, what this is going to include, and it'll be successful.
Well, I don't necessarily would call it promoted if it's just explained. You know, if people just understand what this is about. And I mean, I tell people, you know, you call me anytime, I don't care what day, I don't care what time. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find it out, because, you know, I want transparency, I want openness, and I'm available, and I feel like everybody is available, because, you know, not only am I commissioner, you know, I live here too. You know, I'm affected by this as well. So, we just need it explained and understood, and ask questions until you do. I'm the queen of questions. Anybody will tell you that. And I don't quit till I say, okay, now I'm going to pick this back. Is this right? And then I've got it. So this is what I want for the citizens out here. You know, don't feel like we're trying to pull something on you or whatnot. You know, we're just open about this. And these are things that affects everybody, and it affects everyday life. And I don't know if I get snake bit again and I call the ambulance, you know, I don't want one to call me and say, Sharon, I can't get there now, it's broken down. You know, we want one that can get there and get there quick. So these are just the things, you just think about everyday life and the things that you really need. And we might take it for granted, but just start thinking about it. And I'm from March, you know, I'm from March too.
And I'll say this as well, coming from a long-time public safety background, and obviously as a commissioner, our number one priority to our citizens is their public safety, as well as the court system, and to make sure, because if you think about the court system, that's what putting bad guys in jail keeps people safe. And so if you're looking at public safety, and I've said this many times to a lot of the constituents that I deal with out in the public, an ambulance, a fire truck, a police car are three things that I hope never come to my yard. But I'm glad we have those. And collectively, paying for those is the reason that we have those. None of us here can afford to have our own ambulance or our own fire truck or any of that. Wouldn't want it anyway, even if we could. But collectively, as a county and as a group, we provide that quality of service. And once again, like I say, we hope we never have to use that, but you hope it's there. Like Sharon said, when she got snake bit, she wasn't planning on getting snake bit. But she needed to go to the hospital, whether she wanted to or not, because I don't think she really wanted to go, but she did.
And I needed a helicopter too, that was nice.
Yeah, and so, you know, these are things on the list, and I agree with Commissioner Gaines. And we've talked a lot about efficiencies. Going and finding a third party to look and give us their opinion on efficiency is a good idea in my opinion. It gives us the opportunity, as we've talked about, to take politics out of it and to make it work for all citizens, both county residents and city residents, because I consider every single citizen a resident of the county, regardless of where they live. The boundary doesn't mean anything to me. I represent everybody, and that's the goal. And so, you know, I also agree with the March date. It gives us more time. It gives us more opportunities to meet, more opportunities for citizens to have input, to come and voice their opinions at our public meetings. Obviously, both entities are going to have to look seriously at their project list and trim them down. When you talk about a $60 million maximum number and you've got $85 million, you've got to do some cutting. But in that, you know, using someone as a third party, the Carl Vinson Institute, as has been stated, is an excellent institution. They do good work. They're non-biased. They could care less whether you're a city or a county. And so that gives us an opportunity to look at overall efficiencies in government and provide our citizens with the maximum output for the dollars that they would provide for us to use on their behalf.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for your comments and input. I think we've had some good discussion here. We all have got our own agenda, but we've also got a collective agenda to serve the people of our city and our county, and we want to try to make this effective for them. I know I was encouraged by the report that Splash was only down 5.5% this month. So that means collections are returning to what we've had for a long time, and I think that's great. I think the March 21st, 2021 date is a much better date because we've got a lot of trimming to do. It's like having kids at Christmas when you got department heads. They all want stuff. And we've got to determine what do they want and what do they need. And the comments from the public are critical in that. As you all know, you know, we're county citizens and our taxes go to the county funds, revenue, and that's part of your money for you to use. And we don't have city taxes. So what we try to do is operate as efficiently as we can with what we've got. And the Splash has helped us a lot. If y'all been to the park, the new playground, the farmer's market, you see some of the results of our Splash and some of the things that we're doing with that. And I'd encourage you, if you go in the farmer's market, be there before 9 because they're really selling out quick. But you know, I thank y'all for coming here today, and I think the input here is good. We'll work together as a group to coordinate what is needed for all of our citizens, and it's important to have the citizen input. We hear from a lot of citizens, and mostly, as you said, as we said about roads, you know, we adopted a lot of roads prior to our individuals being on the council, me being the mayor, but we're in a bad situation there, being potholes and things like that, and it's not cheap to pave roads, and so we encourage this thing to keep moving forward. I think the date of March of 21 is a great date. Carl Vinson is a wonderful organization, and maybe once we go back to our respective department heads in our organization and try to pare it down to what's real, that 85 million may be closer to the 60 million that we were looking at anyway. So I think we'll work together on that, and I appreciate everybody's comments.
Any other discussion amongst the council or the commission?
Do we need to officially vote on the date in this setting, or?
No, I think we actually have on the agenda to approve the Splash government agreement, but now that it seems like there's a consensus to wait until March, I think the motion will be to postpone that approval on the intergovernmental agreement until a later date that's more in line with the March, and that gives more time for discussion, more time, because we also have in that agreement the split and all of that as well. So I think the motion today should be to postpone that to a later date, more in line with the consensus on a March election. And with that, unless there's any other discussion, I'll entertain that motion on behalf of the board.
I'll make a motion to postpone the approval of the intergovernmental agreement. Do we need to set a date on that?
We have time, sir.
We don't need to set a date certain. We can just say, as the chairman said, a time consistent with March 2021.
Okay. Yes, I make a motion that we postpone the vote on the intergovernmental agreement in keeping with the time frame of the March vote.
I have a motion from Commissioner Gaines. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote by show of hands. And the board agrees to postpone that intergovernmental agreement to a later date. And now I'll turn that over to the city. They may want to do like.
Gentlemen, you've heard the county's motion. Is your, what is that motion by the city council?
Motion to postpone the intergovernmental agreement till later. Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Tolson, second by Councilmember French. Discussion. All in favor, signify by aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
You opposed likewise, it's unanimous.
Okay. That brings us to the end of our special call joint meeting. We don't have any other information from the board you would like to provide at this time. With that being said, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, we are adjourned. Mayor?
Gentlemen, your pleasure on continuing to discuss things in the absence of the commission.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn by Councilmember Tolson and a second by Councilmember French. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Unanimous approval. Anybody that doesn't want to leave or doesn't want to leave can stay.
Thank you for your attendance.